Okay, we're recording, and you guys, I'm so excited for tonight. I've been looking forward to this, I don't know, since Brad and I started talking a couple weeks ago, I guess, to start planning this, and I just have known how special this is going to be, and what a gift he's going to be for all of us. So I cannot wait, and I guess we didn't really talk accolades or anything like that, but I'll let you introduce yourself, Brad, because you're amazing and I know you've got this thing down. So you guys be present, take notes, soak up every word that he's going to say, and I'm sure we'll circle back at the end. So Brad, I'm going to hand it over to you, friend.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Is coming through okay? Okay, let me know if this microphone gets a little bit too loud. I'm testing it out on different settings and stuff. But thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I'm so excited. I think there are some people unmuted. I'm getting some feedback noise. If you guys can make sure your line's muted, that'd be super duper awesome. But thank you guys so much for the opportunity to be here. And thank you so much, Stephanie, for your trust tonight and allowing me to serve your team and really help with mindset, right? I don't take this opportunity lightly. And my goal tonight is just to bring you above and beyond value. Just so much value to help you master this thing, right? Master what goes on between your ears, because this is the catalyst to everything else happening, not just in your business, but in your life, right? This call isn't just about Beachbody. This is about your entire world, your entire life, your marriage, your kids, your relationships, your happiness, right? Because when you're happy and you have a mastered mindset, you can accomplish anything you want, right? So we're going to learn tonight how to overcome that negative self-talk, how to get rid and silence those limiting beliefs that get in the way of you achieving amazing things. So before we get started though, if you guys could make sure, take your pictures now for Instagram stories, put the phones away, put the kids away, just find a way to separate yourself. If you give yourself this gift of an hour, I give you my word that you will come out of this call with so many tools, so many nuggets to change your life, and you'll feel on top of the world. So just be fully present for this hour, and I promise you will make a lasting impact. So let's start with some participation, guys. In their cages, stuff like that. Let's start with some participation. What is a really big goal that you have? I think some people are still unmuted, by the way, guys. If you guys can make sure your lines are muted, that'd be super duper awesome. Let's start with some participation. Type in the chat box, what is a really big goal that you have? What's a really big goal that you have? And take a look at that goal that you typed in as you're typing it in. I'd love to see what that goal is. There's a wonderful thing about that goal. There is a recipe to making it happen, right? Pay off your husband's student debt, retire your husband, elite team. I love this. All these things. There is a recipe to making all of that happen. And here's the thing. You know your basic business building activities, right? You know that. You have one of the top leaders in the entire Beachbody company teaching you how to do that, right? You know your business building activities, but something you might miss about this is that how you go about using your ingredients in this recipe of life matters. What does that mean? That means that you could invite 1 million people, 1 billion people, but if your mindset is off, you're actually going to repel them. You could have the best training for your team in the entire world, the best coach basics, best push to diamond groups, but if your mindset is off, they won't do anything. In fact, raise your hand if you've ever said, why isn't my team doing anything? Raise your hand if you've ever felt that way before. Don't lie about that, because if you lie about that, you lie about other shit too, right? So you'll begin to learn why on this call, guys. So think about this. You could pour hours into a support group for your clients, but if your mindset is off, they won't actually feel like you're trying to help them. They're going to feel like a pawn that you're using. Right? So what goes on in your mind, your self-talk, your mindset is by far and above the most important piece out of all of this. And you've heard that before. You've heard do your 10 minutes a day, right? It's one of your vital behaviors. But instead of just knowing it, tonight you're going to learn how to actually change your thinking. You're not just going to hear change your thinking, change your life. You're not going to hear a cliche. You're not going to hear do personal growth. You're going to learn how to grow personally, especially when you hit a place in your life, in your business, where you don't feel like it, when you're in that place where you're kind of down in the dumps, where you feel like nothing is going right and you just feel kind of stuck, you're going to learn how to apply it in those states. So where does negative self-talk come from? Where do limiting beliefs come from? I'm going to show you where mine came from in just a second with a couple of quick stories, and I have a reason for sharing them. And we're going to take those stories and we're going to show you how I turn them into a tool for success and happiness. And we'll be able to do the same thing with yours. So as I go through these stories, you might not be able to relate. You might be able to relate. Either way, as I'm going through these, think about where you can relate in some way or where your limiting beliefs came from. So growing up, I had an emotional roller coaster of a childhood, and it led to some really screwed up beliefs about just how life was, and it screwed up my belief about my own success and my own abilities. And I'm curious, how many of you can relate to the topic of money stress? Raise your hand at any point in your life, not even just right now, any point in your life, money stress, right? So we're on the same page here. I remember growing up, my parents would fight about money almost every single day. There was always a limitation. There was some form of, we can't afford that. Some form of, why'd you spend that much money on that, right? So I just remember screaming matches all the time between my parents. I never understood why. And I remember one time, I was probably maybe 10, 11 years old. It was a really bad fight between my parents about why the bank account was overdrawn again. And there were swear words being thrown around from both angles. And I said to my mom, I go, why do you guys always have to fight about stupid money? And right then my mom snapped at me. She goes, shut the fuck up and go to your room. And right in that moment, like just told me to go away. I don't need the opinion of a punk kid. That's not the bad part. The bad part is my dad comes over with a soap dispenser, starts pouring soap on my mom's head, down her neck, like down her back, all these things. It was the closest thing I ever saw to a physical altercation between my parents. And we didn't know what to do. We were crying our eyes out. We're little kids. We don't know if we should be mad at mom for saying mean things to me, mad at dad for taking it up a level. We just didn't know. All I knew is that money equaled pain. Right? Money equaled bad. Money equaled screaming. Money equaled fights, right? I just hated money because whenever it came up, it seemed like someone was about to get punched in the face. And that never happened. But all the stress around money made me hate and fear having it. And you pair that with seeing my parents always overdraft their bank accounts and the day-to-day fights, never having a great Christmas or birthday, and always saying no to vacations, and seeing my parents struggle even to this day and eventually get divorced. Money was a big factor in that. I believed growing up that money was bad. I believed it made you a horrible person. I believed that it tore relationships apart. And money is the reason why it took me 6-7 years to propose to her. I was afraid that if we got married and had money, it would rip us apart. And on top of the money, and I have a reason for sharing that I'll get to in a second, on top of the money, I had an incredibly turbulent relationship with my mom. Raise your hand if you can relate to a turbulent relationship with a family member in some way, shape, or form, a turbulent relationship that you guys had. Okay, so I want to preface this by saying I love my mom. She's a very good person, big heart. And I've forgiven her for the pain of my past. And I needed to realize that she was hurting in the times when we were growing up. But getting to that point of forgiveness took some time because I was really angry and I was really sad. I didn't realize that she was loving me in the only way that she possibly knew how at the time, which was needing just complete control. But I had this one memory that happened over and over and over again, like drilled into my head like it was yesterday. I'd be laughing and joking on the school bus on the way home from school, and I'd see my stop coming up. And my house was right there, and all of a sudden my heart would start beating like 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I'd start to get like nervous, knots in my stomach. I'd start to get like uncomfortable, and I didn't understand why. I do now. But I'd see my stop coming, and I'd take my blue backpack, I'd walk across the bus, I'd get off the bus, I'd go across the lawn, I'd type in the 4-digit code on the garage door, I'd walk in, and boom, instantly hit with the smell of cigarette smoke. And to this day, if I smell cigarette smoke, it reminds me of my childhood. And I walk in the door, and there's mom puffing on a cigarette in one hand and playing a Juul game on her computer or whatever in the other hand. And the thing that really got me is that sometimes there was a hello, sweetie, how you doing? But I would say probably 80% of the time it was a just go away. Like, why are you talking? We got someone muted, by the way, guys. Like, why are you talking to me? Or like, I don't need the opinion of a punk kid, or, go to your room, or whatever it was. And that never sat well with me. I always remember growing up just thinking like, why doesn't my mom love me? Like, what's wrong with this? What did I do wrong? And obviously my mom loved me. Like, she loves me very much, but there was just no consistency. And as a kid, you don't know what to think, right? That's just one example. But I grew up craving love from my mom and never feeling like I was enough. I never felt worthy of success, of attention, of love, of anything. I never felt that I deserved someone loving me for me. And it screwed with how I lived my life and conducted my business, right? I'd be like a chameleon. I changed who I was depending on the peer group that I was in. If I was around successful people, I would act successful so they would like me. If I was around people that complained about their job all day, I would start complaining about my life because I wanted to be liked by them. And I never felt like I was enough. It took me years, until about 3 years ago, to actually believe that I was enough for something. And you might have a different story, but where can you relate to this? What limiting belief or beliefs do you have now because of something that happened years ago that you haven't forgiven or forgotten yet? Think about that. When you're little, you're incredibly impressionable, and it's in those times that your belief about your abilities and yourself start to take shape. My biggest limiting beliefs were like, money is bad and I am not worthy. Those are my two limiting beliefs. Can any of you guys relate to some form of that in some way? Raise your hand if you can relate to, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve this. Okay, so when I started my business, and if you don't relate, that's okay. You can still apply today to any limiting beliefs you have. So when I started my Beachbody business 6 years ago, for those of you guys that don't know, I was involved with Beachbody for 5 years. And Beachbody, I love Beachbody. Beachbody is my family. And Beachbody led me to growing in personal growth and being able to speak to people about these topics. And I knew that I needed to chase my life's work, my passion of helping people break through these limiting beliefs. So when I can totally relate to what you're going through in your Beachbody business. When I started my Beachbody business 6 years ago, it did not matter how many people I invited. It did not matter how many social media posts I put up. It didn't frickin' matter how many trainings I created for my team. It didn't matter how much amazing content I was putting out there. It was always the same. My team was not growing to match the effort that I was putting in. I was always like, dude, why aren't you doing this? You have all the tools you need right in front of you. And on top of that, my bank account was overdrafting. My paychecks were a couple $100 a week, and I had this perceived success, but I was skating by. And I would always see the red font on chase.com, the red font that shows overdrafted by 49 cents or whatever it is, right? So I had to figure out how to fix this. I had to figure out how to change my life. And I went on this journey of just changing my world. I went on a personal growth journey of getting through those limiting beliefs, getting over negative self-talk, all the things that were getting in the way of my leadership ability, my belief in my own success, right? I went on a journey of becoming the person and spouse I was meant to be. And that led me to the creation of my online course Appreciation Academy, which we'll talk about later. But that program is how I became the leader that I was meant to become. That program is how I changed my life. So why do I tell you all this? Because when I tried to build a business, and this is where you might be stuck, the overwhelming amount of negative self-talk, the lack of belief, and the secret obstacles that I didn't even realize were there stopped me in my tracks. And like I talked about, I created a system to overcome it. We can't go through all of that in a 1-hour call. But if you take these 3 points seriously over the next 45 minutes, you're going to learn 3 of the major steps that I took to exploding my life. So let's start with number 1. Number 1, write this down. Your thoughts are always the reason. Your thoughts are always the reason. What does that mean? You've heard that cliche before a million times, right? You've heard the cliche, change your thinking, change your life. You've seen those motivational quotes. I'm talking about actually learning how to change your thinking, how to rewire the supercomputer of your mind. So you start to tell yourself these stories, right? Money is bad. Building a team is hard, or my teammates won't do anything, or it's so much easier for Steph. She's got all these followers on Instagram and she was on Coach Advisory Board, or, I'm not enough, or, money is whatever it is, right? And if you say that story enough, you actually start to believe it. So have you ever been at a party over the years? And this isn't related to Beachbody in any way, but just you'll see what I mean here. Have you ever been at a party over the years? And when you get to the party, you want to be cool. So you tell a story that is exaggerated in some way. You exaggerate, like the fish wasn't 6 inches long, it was 3 feet long, right? You exaggerate the story in some way just so you sound a little bit cooler, and you get a couple laughs, you get a little bit better response from people. And when you do that, when you exaggerate the story and you get that reinforcement, you tend to do it again, right? The next time you go back to the party, you all of a sudden say that story again with more conviction. Only it's louder and it's more intense and you believe it more. And now it's 5 years in the future and you're telling that story at a party and you don't even know what freaking part of the story is real anymore. Like you don't remember, right? Because you've said that story so many times just to get those laughs, you don't know what part is real. So do you guys know what I'm talking about? You share it with so much conviction, you don't even know what's true. The same thing happens with negative self-talk. Only instead of it being a really fun party topic, it sabotages your entire life. These are your disempowering beliefs. These are your disempowering beliefs, your default software. And you go through life believing this bullshit, right? And it creates inner conflict. It changes the way that you lead your life and your business. How many of you feel like sometimes you're forcing people to do things? If you feel like you're forcing your teammates to do something, that is actually from your beliefs. It has nothing to do with them. And I'm going to show you why in a second. Have you ever been sitting there on the couch just like wondering why things aren't growing and you're working so hard and you have no freaking clue how to fix it? Your advice is just like, just hit Success Club, just keep doing this. But there you are 3 months later, you're stagnant in dollar volume, stagnant in rank, your paychecks are the same or less, not nearly as much growth as you deserve. To change this is a huge point. To change this, you need to believe that you are enough before the evidence of your business says that you're enough. This is and how do you do that, right? You've heard that, like you've heard that you need to believe in yourself. But you need to believe in yourself enough, believe that you're enough before the evidence of your business says that you're enough. And that's hard when the results of your business are saying that you're not enough, right? And guys, I think someone's unmuted on that line. If you guys can make sure you're all muted, that'd be super duper awesome. But to change this, guys, you can change it by changing your questions. Write this down. Better questions change your life. Better questions eliminate negative self-talk. Better questions explode your business. If you've ever faced a point in your life where you're trying to convince yourself that you're good enough or deserve something great, but you don't actually believe it, there's a reason why. Like, have you ever been sitting there, like writing out your goals, and you write out earn $100,000 by June 3rd, 2019. You write out this goal on a sheet of paper, all these goals on a sheet of paper, and you're looking at it. And it would be friggin' amazing to have these goals. It would change your life to have these goals. And you're going, that'd be so cool. It'd make me do all these things. I'd be able to just retire my husband, whatever it is. I'd be able to pay off your mortgage, whatever it is. But there's that little voice back here, that little voice that says, there is no way you're achieving that, right? Or maybe you have this vision board and you have your mansion and your nice car and your debt-free sign on that vision board. And you're looking at it and you just think that'd be so cool. It'd be so amazing to change my life in that way. But there's that little voice just whispering doubt and insignificance into your subconscious mind. You know what I'm talking about, or am I crazy? It's like you can barely hear him, but he's there. You have to change that thinking. And like I said, we can't get through all of it in a 1-hour call, but we can go through an amazing tool to do it. So what is thinking? Thinking is nothing more than the process of asking yourself a question. That's what thinking is literally just asking yourself questions. So if you ask yourself bad questions, you're going to get really bad answers. If you ask yourself great questions, you're going to get really great answers. The mistake I made is I just thought I had to work harder. But there's a point where you're working your ass off and nothing's happening. It's because you have internal conflict. So let me do an exercise to show you what I mean by bad questions versus good questions. Take a look. Unless you're actually driving right now, take a look and look around the room for everything you can find that is red. Ready, go. Count the number of things that you can find that are red. Look for red, 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 look for red. Count the things that are red, look for red, look for red, look for red, look for red. Cool. Count the number of things that are red. How many things did you find that were blue? No idea. Right? You have no freaking clue. Maybe one because you accidentally glanced by it, but now check this out. This is really cool. Look around the room for everything you can find that's blue. Count the things that are blue. Ready, go. Look for blue. 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 How many more things did you find that were blue? A shit ton more, right? Have you ever been in the market for a car? And when you decide one day, I want to buy a 2017 Ford Fusion, you see that car at every stoplight, every stop sign, every friggin' street corner, every parking lot. You see it everywhere. Why? Well, did it all of a sudden magically appear? Or did you say all of a sudden you decided to start looking for it? It was always there. It was always there. This is how your thoughts work. When you're looking for red, that's you asking bad questions. When you look for blue, that is you asking really good questions. So when you focus on what you don't want, AKA red, those are the seeds of doubt and skepticism and pain. That is why am I not enough to build this business? That is why is it so hard to hit emerald? That is why is it so hard to hit diamond? That is why is it so much easier for Stephanie? That is why is it so hard to do this? That is why is my husband such an ass? Whatever it is, right? Those are the seeds of doubt and skepticism and pain. And those thoughts grow in your mind like weeds. Like weeds. And what does that mean? That means they'll grow no matter what. So remember what Jim Rohn said. If you guys don't follow Jim Rohn, he has amazing content. Amazing content. And one of his quotes is, stand guard at the gates of your mind or weeds will grow automatically. What does that mean? That means that negativity will automatically populate in here if you don't program it to look for blue. If you don't intentionally reprogram this to look for what you want, you will always find what's wrong. The beautiful thing about life is that what's wrong is always available to you, but so is what's right. So what does he mean by stand guard at the gates of your mind or weeds will grow automatically? Think about this. This is fear-based thinking. And thousands of years ago, like we haven't evolved much since then, thousands of years ago, your biggest fears were not inviting on Instagram or Facebook or making a vulnerable post. Your biggest fears were the saber-toothed tiger that was going to eat your baby. Your biggest fears were, how am I going to eat today, right? That's what you were friggin' worried about. And we haven't evolved much. And now you equate the same amount of fear to posting about your story, right? Think about that. It doesn't make any sense. So our brains are naturally wired to focus on fear, what we don't want. Why? Because your brain is not wired to make you happy. Your brain is not wired to make you happy. Your brain is wired to make you survive. Its primary function is to protect you from pain at all costs. So it's always looking for what's wrong. Your brain is always looking for what's wrong unless you program it to look for what's right. So think about this. Ask yourself this question right now. And by the way, that's why it's so easy to focus on bad things. That's why it's so easy to get into slumps. So ask yourself this right now. Ask yourself, why am I not enough to build this business? Ask yourself that question. Why am I not enough to build this business? What happens? Think about it. Do you notice the answers start to pour out of you? How motivated do you feel when you focus on that? Not at all, right? And even when you read books like this, positive thinking, happy, motivational, inspirational, personal growth books, it doesn't matter that there's still that voice in the back of your head that says you're not enough because you're wired to look for red, right? I shared a couple stories a couple minutes ago about where my red came from. What are your red stories, right? What are your limiting beliefs? Those disempowering questions. Throw a heck yeah in the chat box if you can relate to any of the following. Why isn't my team doing anything? You ever say that? Why isn't my team doing anything? Why can't I get it right? Why don't people want to join me? How come I always mess it up? Why is it so hard to lose weight? Why am I so broke? Why do I never catch a break? Why is it so much easier for my upline? Why can't I do anything right? Will I always be this stuck? Think about that. That's you looking for red, right? That's you looking for what you don't want. And what you look for, just like you proved in that example where you actually looked for red versus blue, you found the answer. And it doesn't feel very good to ask yourself those questions, right? I bet it leads to a lot of pain, a lot of procrastination, and there you are sitting at your life frustrated, sitting there looking at your life frustrated with the results you're getting. And no matter how much someone tells you they believe in you, no matter how much someone says that you can have success in your business, no matter how many other people you see crushing it, it doesn't change the fact that there's that little voice saying, no, you can't. Do you know what I'm talking about, or am I crazy, right? So when you set a goal, your dominant beliefs will determine if that goal comes true, whether you're looking for red or looking for blue. And setting goals, guys, is nothing more than the process of trying to create a new reality as opposed to your current reality. That's what goal setting is. You're trying to change your current reality. The gap in the middle between point A and point B is whether you're looking for red or looking for blue. That's it. That's all it is. The gap in the middle of where you are now and your goals is whether you are looking for red or looking for blue. And until you are looking for blue, that Ford Fusion, what you want, the empowering question, until your language up here is consistently empowering, you are always going to feel stuck. You're always going to feel like you're struggling to get to your goals. And even if you do happen to get to your goals, you won't be happy. I know this because I lived it. So let's try in a couple examples. Use the limiting belief, and I'm going to show you how to reverse this in a second. Use the limiting belief of why isn't my team growing? Ask yourself that. Why isn't my team growing? Do you notice your brain was actually looking for an answer? And even if you're successful, unless you've programmed it to look for blue, you start to question yourself. That is how insidious negative self-talk is. Something you need to understand is that your entire life, everything, not just your business, your life can be changed by asking yourself more empowering questions. Everything about your life can be changed by asking yourself more empowering questions. Your brain, this is huge. Guys, your brain is a Google search engine. It will answer whatever the hell you type into that search bar. So what if you intentionally reverse what you type into your mental Google? What if you switch it up? What if you intentionally take control back and program your mind with what you want instead of what you don't want? Because your brain is looking for an answer anyways. So you might as well ask it an intelligent question that's going to lead to a better life. Asking, why is it so hard to build my team? What does your brain do? It finds all the reasons why it's so hard to build a business. That's what you focus on. So you never find the answers to your biggest challenges. When you sit down to work, your brain is literally looking for every reason why you can't do this, why you're not capable. So you don't send the invites, you scroll Facebook. You don't support your clients, you wonder why more aren't coming to you. You don't support and be a servant leader to your teammates in the best way possible. You check in with them like your mom would the first week of college, right? That just making sure they're doing their invites. You force them to act. You're just checking in all the time. And here's what's crazy. There are amazing people and opportunities and situations to change your life, Blue, that stumble across your life every freaking day. But because you're so focused on what's wrong, what you don't want, you don't even notice it. And self-sabotage will step in and you won't even see it right in front of you. You won't even notice that dude sitting on the park bench that has the high blood pressure that you could have started a conversation with. You won't even notice that mom that lives next door that doesn't know how they're going to pay for their kids' college education. You won't even notice Blue because you're looking for red. Does that make sense? So let's change it up. Ask yourself this. Why is it so easy to empower my team to create an amazing life? Why is it so easy to empower my team to create an amazing life? What happens? You still look for an answer. And even if you're brand new, you find all the reasons why you can instead of why you can't. So let's use Emerald, right? How many of you guys are new coaches? Raise your hand. New coaches, brand new, amazing. Okay, so let's use the example of getting to Emerald. And if you're already Emerald, already Diamond, already Star Diamond, use your next rank, whatever it is for this example. Try this. Ask yourself, why is it so hard to hit Emerald? What happens? You focus on how you're going to be judged for putting your story out there. You focus on how you might be rejected. What's your mom going to think? Is your spouse going to still support you? You're going to focus on all these things, right? All these negative things. When you focus on why it's so hard to hit Emerald, you're focusing on red. What if you look for blue? What if you change it up and you ask yourself, why is it so easy to hit Emerald? You go, oh shit, it's only 2 people. I can ask John and Susie, that's it, right? You start to focus on the opportunities, the people you could reach out to, the sacrifices you could make to build your business. Can you imagine if you fill your mind with just this one step of my system every day? Right? And here's the key. You don't have to have the answer to the question that you ask. You don't need to have the answer before you go forward. You just need to live in a question that guides you towards blue, that guides you towards the life that you want. Because when you're in the right state of mind and you know the direction you want to go, the how will reveal itself. You'll figure it out. You don't need to know how. You need to know why. But live in an empowering question that will lead you to what you want. This is a quotable here. Write this down. Every problem you face in your life is an empowering question you haven't asked yourself yet. Every problem you face in your life is an empowering question you haven't asked yourself yet. That's it. So for your life and for your business, write down all the negative stuff. Like after this call, literally after this call, make a list of all the negative things that you ask yourself all the time. Why am I so broke? Why is my business not growing? Why am I stuck? Why am I so fat? Why is my husband so annoying? Whatever it is, write it down. Write down all this massive list of questions and then flip them on their head. Flip them into the empowering version of it. Turn it into, why is it so easy to blank? Why am I so wealthy? Why is my business booming? Why is it so easy to lead my team? Why am I such a great leader? When you turn that around, you can change your entire world because you're focusing on blue instead of red. The 2 questions that changed my entire life are, why am I so kind to myself every day? And why am I worthy of living an amazing life? Those questions changed my world. Life will get 100% easier if you are 1% nicer to yourself. Life will get 100% easier if you are 1% nicer to yourself. That might be something to think about, guys. So what you do then is take your new empowering questions and program your subconscious mind. What does that mean? What I did is I recorded these questions on my phone. I listened to it while I sleep. I still listen to this every day in the car when I'm driving to teach my group fitness class, right? Every day when I teach fitness, I listen to it in the car, or when I'm walking the dog. I record it, listen to it while you sleep, whatever you got to do. Put it on Post-it notes all over your house. Can you imagine if you had an alarm that went off on your phone that said, why is it so easy to be a loving mom today? 5 minutes before your kids got home from school. What if that was what you had go off on your phone? Think about that. Can you imagine how you'd respond when they walk in the door? How would their life change, right? Or what if you had on the car dashboard? What if you had, why is it so easy to fall in love with my spouse again today? Written on the dashboard. Whoops. Think about that. Like, what if you had that written on the dashboard? Like, what would happen when you walk in? If you had, why is it so easy to fall in love with my spouse again today? What would happen when you walk in? Would you give him a little kiss on the cheek, go to the couch, stress out, watch Friends, peace out for a little while? Would you pin him against the wall, right? Like, think about that. How would your marriage change? Like, that is how you change your life. You literally reprogram your mind with what you want instead of what you don't want. That's just one of the ways I changed my life. You're planting new thought seeds, and you're watering those thought seeds daily with a question. All of a sudden, you stop watering the red plants. You let those weeds die in your garden. And the only flowers you water now are the blue ones, right? And within less time than you think, your garden is gorgeous with tons of blue flowers and is blooming with so much oxygen. It's giving your life oxygen again. And guess what happens? When your life has oxygen and you feel alive every single day, when you do that, guess what happens? You start to attract leaders. You start to attract people that want to do this. You start to attract people that are go-getters, that love life, that attract other people. Business becomes easy when you live that way. Is this one little mindset strategy helpful so far? Just one. I got 2 more. Cool? Let's move on to number 2. Write this down. Your problem isn't the problem. How you face your problem is the problem. So guys, when you are so emotionally attached to a goal coming true, when you have a death grip on it, you actually start to push that goal away. When you have it like, I must do this, you actually make it harder to achieve. Don't take that to mean that you shouldn't be excited or passionate or get your hopes up or go after your goals all out. That's not what I mean. You absolutely should be excited. You absolutely should be passionate. You absolutely should get your hopes up. What I mean is when your happiness is dependent on that goal coming true, you make that goal almost impossible to achieve. And even if you do happen to achieve it, you won't be happy. Have you ever found yourself, story of my past here, have you ever found yourself pushing so hard for a goal to come true, but every time you do, it's like it's just out of reach, like it's getting further and further and further away? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's because you have a death grip on success. It's because you are attached. I'm going to show you how to get detached in a second. It's because you have a mindset of this absolutely must happen, and then I will allow myself to feel fulfilled. When you think this way and you live this way and you have a death grip saying, I must get there and then I'll be happy and fulfilled, what happens when you come up short? How do you feel when you don't get to a goal? You feel pretty crappy, right? You feel like your self-worth took a little bit of a hit, right? And let me guess, it leads to self-sabotage, leads to you getting into a slump, leads to compounding negative self-talk. All those stories in your head are amplified. The fish isn't 6 inches long, it's 3 feet long, right? You're saying you're not good enough. You're focusing on red all the time, so you start to believe that you're a bad leader and you can't do this when it's a load of bullshit. When you try to build a business this way, it is incredibly overwhelming and intense and stressful to try to overcome those demons because it feels insurmountable. It feels defeating because you have no idea how to solve it. So you start to accept it as truth. You start to accept it as truth when it's not true. When you learn to see your challenges as just an empowering question you haven't asked yet, instead of being responsible for your happiness, you actually figure out how to solve the challenges. Huge important note here, and this is a huge focus of my online course Appreciation Academy. The overarching theme of the entire thing, guys, is business and success do not cause happiness. Back noise, guys. I think someone might be unmuted on here. Business and success do not cause happiness. Happiness, learning how to be happy, learning how to appreciate your life now is how you create business success. Okay? Stop thinking that you'll be happy when. If you live that way, you will never be happy. Most people don't get that. I didn't. And it's one of the main reasons I stayed stuck in my life. You don't need to find the answer because where you are right now is the answer. This is so important, guys. Seeing your current good. And this isn't just about Beachbody. This is everything in your life, your marriage, your bank account, everything. Seeing your current good is the fastest way to increase more good. Seeing your current bad is the fastest way to stay stuck. So what does that mean? Step into the common sense corner for a second. If you're God, the universe, whatever you believe in, and you have person A and person B down on earth, right, in your creation, right? I'm not saying you have to believe anything, just play the ball with me here for a second. Like, step into the common sense corner. Person A is that person that always focuses on red, what they don't want, why it's raining outside, and like all these bugs are in their house, or what. I'm just thinking of this shit right now. Like, just things that are wrong all the time. They're that person that focuses on why it's not working. They're that person that is getting into these slumps all the time, focusing on how their life will finally be better when something happens. That's person A. Person B is, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much right now. I'm not on my goals yet, but I'm working really hard to get there. And all these challenges are so fun, and I'm learning and meeting so many people. I'm learning so many leadership skills, and oh my gosh, it's raining outside. That's so cool because my garden's gonna finally bloom, right? I'm just making stuff up, but you guys get the point, right? Person A, person B. If you're God, the universe, whatever you believe in, are you gonna give more to the person that is complaining about having less, person A, or are you gonna give more to the person that already loves everything they have? Think about it for a second. That's why a lot of people are stuck. They don't like where they are. Where you are is not wrong. Where you are is the best place to be because you're exactly where you need to be to learn the shit you need to learn to change your life, right? Seeing your current good and appreciating your life now is how you increase the good. Waiting to be happy until something happens is how you never achieve anything. And what's awesome about this one skill is that it means you don't have to work nearly as hard for exponentially better results. Because instead of slamming down on that gas pedal as hard as you freaking can to get to your destination, wondering why you're not going anywhere, and you see all these other cars passing you in the left lane beside you, wondering what are you doing wrong, and you're working so hard, instead of slamming down harder on that gas pedal, you realize that the only thing that has been wrong this entire time is simply that your emergency brake is on. That's it. It's just your emergency brake. So to go further faster, you don't need to push down harder. You just need to release the brake on your life. Most people try to climb this mountain of success. Like, put your goal on top of a mountain for a second. Most people try to climb this mountain of success saying they'll be happy when something happens, when they get to the top, when they get to 2-star, Million Club, whatever it is. Put your dream up there. The only problem is that it's the same thing as trying to make a beeline for the top of Everest with a blindfold on. And when you're climbing Everest, and you make a beeline for the top with a blindfold on, what's going to happen? You're going to die, right? Because getting to the top, it's going to take a lot of detours, lots of legs burning. You're probably going to need some energize, some hydrate, some recover, some recharge, right? You're going to need all that stuff to get to the top of Everest, right? And you're probably going to notice trails going in different directions, right? Think about that. And there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. If that blindfold is on, you're probably going to die getting there. But what if you just take the blindfold off? And you appreciate everything about this climb as you go? What if you take water breaks along the way? What if you appreciate the scenery of the climb? And what if you enjoy the journey of getting to the top? And instead of like you saying, I need to get there now, what if you realize that even though the trail seems to be going away from the top and downhill, AKA return orders, AKA dropping in rank, losing money, whatever it is, even though it seems like it's going downhill, it's actually avoiding a cliff. It's actually taking you towards the top so much faster. What if you enjoy the journey? What if you go on this journey of hiking for the hike and not the peak? And guess what happens? When you do that, it becomes so much easier to get there. When you're in this state of it absolutely must happen and then I'll be happy, how does it come off to your team? How does it come off in your social media posts? How does it affect your invites? How does it affect the way you talk to your prospects? Even more importantly, how does it affect your relationship with your kids or your husband? Right? And most of you are trying to build a business this way and it doesn't work. It won't work. So what if you let it go? What if you chill and you be okay and happy either way? What if you take that blindfold off and decide to love the ups and the downs, the valleys and the peaks? What if you become committed to getting there, absolutely wanting to get there and going for it with everything you got? And also loving any direction the trail takes, knowing that it will get you there. Wouldn't you be more relaxed, happier, more fulfilled, less hurt by challenges? So what if you become, after leaving this call, committed to that summit, but not attached to the summit? What if you do it for the growth you experience instead of just the peak? Why don't you do it to become a better leader? Do it for the climb, not just the peak. How would you go about challenges in your leadership differently? How would you empower your team differently? How would you invite differently? It wouldn't be this desperate death grip on them doing something. You'd say, what can I learn from this? If you operate this way from a place of commitment, wanting to get there so bad and going after it and loving the journey, if someone says no, or someone quits, or you get a return order, or you drop in rank, or whatever it is, think about that. Think about that. When you do that, all of a sudden, you learn something instead of hate something. That's pretty powerful, right? Even if those negative things happen, they're teaching you a lesson that will get you to the top faster. And wouldn't you agree it becomes exponentially easier to build a business that way, right? So much easier. Like, you know that feeling you have in your heart where you feel like you're forcing things and you're not getting nearly enough results for the effort you're putting in? What if that went away, like tonight? What if you become alive again and your energy becomes contagious again? How would your life change? Living this way makes success easier. So like I said, that's what, I'm going to teach you that in my course. That's what it's for. But I have one final tip that will help getting to that commitment state a little bit easier. I call this the secret sauce. This is number 3. I call this the secret sauce. You might know this as genuine gratitude. Okay, so I thought that gratitude was a crock of shit for the longest time, for a long time. I didn't practice it, but I'm going to show you and actually prove to you in just a second that gratitude is actually a business tool. I'm going to show you in just a minute how gratitude can solve any problems in your business, in your life, in your marriage, anything. So write this down. It is impossible to feel pain when you're grateful. Impossible. Impossible to feel pain when you're grateful. When you are in a state of gratitude, it's impossible to feel all the disempowering emotions that slow your business down. It's impossible to feel frustration, anger, depression, sadness, anxiety, whatever it is. You can't feel it. It's impossible. I'm going to show you in a second. Pain in life is guaranteed. There is something that's going to happen. Death of a family member, dropping in rank, whatever it is, you will notice there will be pain in your life. I guarantee it's coming. Raise your hand if you've experienced pain in your life. Pain in your life is guaranteed. Suffering from that pain is optional. It's up to you. 100% up to you. Pain is guaranteed. Suffering is optional. And to do that, a good way to get out of that state of pain, out of that state of suffering, is to practice gratitude. I don't mean gratitude where you say, yay, I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. I mean where you feel it in your heart. An exercise we're going to go through in a second where you actually feel it in your heart. Gratitude will attract people to you. It will attract opportunities and things and situations and solutions so much faster, especially when you're grateful for the life you already live instead of making the life you have now wrong. When you make the life you have now wrong, you won't get to those goals. You are exactly where you need to be right now. And when you become grateful for where you are and the lessons you're learning, you attract the most amazing things to your life. It's like the universe goes, okay, this person's for real. Let's give them more. So think about this. Let's talk about gratitude for a second. You're watching a computer or watching a video on a computer or a cell phone from anywhere in the world about gratitude or mindset. You're probably on a couch in a safe apartment. You can probably take your kids to the doctor to get medical care. You're probably going to pull into the parking lot at a job where you either supplement your income or make your family's income, right? You're probably going to take your dog to the vet. You're probably going to sit down on the couch tonight and watch Netflix or The Haunting of Hill House or Friends or whatever it is on Netflix. And most of that you take for granted. When there is a mother out there that just watched her baby starve to death today, when there are people out there injecting needles into their arm to cope with pain, when there are countries that still live in communism, you're so accustomed to the miracles happening around you every day that you don't even see them as miracles anymore most of the time, right? Most of you view miracles as scarce and don't appreciate how literally everything around you was a thought or an idea. This team, TeamFITspiration, right? This team was an idea this woman had, an idea. That is all it was, just a thought. And it proves that you can literally create miracles at any second, because she did, right? The computer or phone you're watching this on, miracle. It is incredible. It goes to space and connects you with someone all across the world, right? We have the tendency to let go of gratitude and make it a rule that you can only feel gratitude and happiness if something happens. And just like we talked about a minute ago, that is setting yourself up for suffering. Nothing, this is so big, guys. This is something to put on your whiteboard, whatever it is. Nothing has to happen for you to feel happy. Nothing has to happen for you to feel good. Nothing. Nothing. You don't need a reason. And as long as you structure your life in a way where you need a reason, where your happiness is dependent on something you don't control or dependent on a goal, then you will never be fulfilled. Never. Even if you have a ton of success, you could feel like you could be winning at life and feel like you're losing because the scorecard you're using is unfair because it only allows you to feel happy if something happens. And this is going to be hard to hear. Achievement without gratitude is total failure. Achievement without gratitude is total failure. If you live in this country or Canada or the UK and you're in the bottom 1%, you are in the top 1% of the world. Most of this world lives on $900 a year, $2.50 a day. This life is a gift. You're breathing, you're alive. That should be enough to smile about. And if you're smiling every day, business becomes easier, guys. A lot of you have these huge expectations of your spouse, your kids, your team, your volume, your sales. And when your life conditions, the way life currently is, doesn't align with what you want, you get frustrated, right? Like you have these expectations or rules of what needs to happen in order to feel successful. I challenge you to let that go because your view of life literally determines your future. Literally. So every day, when you condition your mind to focus on blue, what you want, detaching from that attachment, that go on top of the mountain and becoming committed to it, all of a sudden you're going to notice that slowly the anxiety, the depression, the overwhelm, the fear, the negative self-talk, you won't notice it as much anymore. And you're going to become excited about every single day. I went through a period of time in my life. And tell me if you can relate to this. Throw a yes in the chat box if you can relate to this. I went through a period of time where I knew I wanted my life to change so bad, but I'd find myself on the couch, like binge watching TV, having these like bad days, like 4 days a week. And it was terrible. I was just like depressed, and even worse, like I was immobilized. I knew exactly what I needed to do. Like my computer was staring at me going like, bro, do some shit to change your life, right? Like staring at me. And I cared so much, but I just didn't care, right? And it hurt, right? I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know why. And then I tried really hard and I'd send out 200 invites in a day and they all showed seen at 5:02 p.m. No one responded. And then I was like, what am I doing wrong? And I get into this cycle back to the couch, right? And I didn't understand why. And from practicing what I teach in my course, the overwhelm, the fear, the anxiety, the negative emotions started to happen much less frequently. It was one time every 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, then a month, then 3 months, then 6 months. And now my natural default setting is happy. My natural default setting is blue when it used to be only red. And yes, there are still days once in a while where I get the whole woe is me, right? I am human, right? And I can get depressed and useless that day, but I can literally change it in 2-3 minutes using gratitude. In fact, what I learned from Tony Robbins is that you can literally use gratitude to solve any business problem or any problem in your marriage or lead you towards the direction in that to solve that problem in 2 minutes using gratitude. And I'm going to show you right now how it's a tool for your business. Okay, so I do not take credit for this. This is something that I've learned from Tony Robbins, something that I adopt and use every day, something that I want to pass along to you because it is so powerful. So for this last 5 minutes, guys, get somewhere where you will allow yourself to be fully vulnerable, where you are completely away from kids, where you are off your phone, Instagram stories is away, whatever it is. I'm talking like if you play these next 5 minutes all out with me, you can change your entire future. I'm going to show you how gratitude can change your life. So get to a place where you can actually do this. If you need to turn off your video in order to be emotional and vulnerable, I'm going to take you through an exercise that you don't need to understand how it works. I'm just going to show you how powerful it is. So if you need to turn off your video, do it. Otherwise, just be present with me in this moment. So close your eyes and keep them closed until I tell you to open them. It's going to be a few minutes, okay? So keep them closed. And think about something in your life, something that stresses you out on a scale of 1 to 10, a 7, 8, 9, 10 or higher. Something just really stresses you out. Maybe it's a rank you can't seem to get to, whatever it is. You can't seem to hit Success Club. Maybe it's something in your marriage. Maybe it's something with your kids. What's that stressful situation? With your eyes closed, raise your hand if you have your situation. Everyone have their situation? Okay. Keep your eyes closed. And put both your hands physically on your heart. Breathe deep into your heart. Feel the power of your heart. And as you do this, feel the oxygen actually coming in your nose and imagine it coming into your heart. Breathe deep. Keep those hands in your heart this entire exercise. Take a deep breath into your heart and feel the power of it. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day without you having to work for it. As long as your heart beats, you live. It's a gift. You didn't have to buy your heart. You didn't have to earn it. Something thought enough of you to give you this beautiful gift of life the second you were born. You have inherent worth. So take a second and just appreciate the fact that your heart's beating right now, that you have this life, and feel grateful for a second and think of all the amazing things in your life right now that your heart has led to, and just love it for a second. Just appreciate it for a second. Breathe it into your heart and feel it deep in your heart. And now, in this state, go back to a memory you can feel grateful for. What's a moment, a memory, any stage, any time, a moment that you can feel deeply grateful for? And instead of seeing that moment from the outside, step back into that moment like you're there. Who are you with? What did you see? See the same things you saw then. Feel the same things you felt then. Relive those same emotions you experienced then, and relive it all over like it's happening right in front of you. You are in that moment right now. You are holding his hand. You're saying, I do. You are giving birth to that first child, whatever it is. Feel that moment and appreciate it, and take that moment into your heart and just feel so grateful. So grateful that you got to experience it. And now go to a second memory. What's a second memory that you can feel deeply grateful for? Could be 10 years ago, could be today. Step back into that moment like you're there. Relive it. See the same things you saw then. Breathe the same way you did then. Feel the same emotions you felt then. Right now, like it's happening all over again. Is it when you said I do? Is it when you had your first kid? What is it for you? Step into that moment and just love it and appreciate it for a second and relive it and feel it in your heart and take it in. And now go to a coincidence. What's a coincidence in your life that you can be grateful for? Something you didn't expect to happen, but did. When you realize that life is always happening for you and not to you. Step back into a coincidence that you can be grateful for. You were in line at Starbucks and you met the love of your life. You were in the basement at a friend's house flirting with this guy, and now you have 5 kids with him, whatever it is. What did it lead to? What is that coincidence for you? You got a message on Facebook and you were led to a business that changed your world. What is that coincidence for you that you can feel so grateful for, where life was happening for you and not to you? And breathe that deep into your heart, in your nose, out your mouth. Feel that overwhelming gratitude in your heart and stack it all on top of each other. Feel the gratitude for your heart beating 100,000 times a day without you having to do anything for it. Right? It just lives. Feel the gratitude for that first memory, that second memory, that coincidence. Stack it all onto each other. And from this beautiful state from your heart and not your head, go back to that stressful situation. And in your own mind, just say to yourself, in this situation, all I need to remember is blank. In this situation, all I need to become is blank. In this situation, all I need to do is blank. You can open your eyes, because when you live in gratitude, your heart already knows the answer to your most challenging problem. How many of you guys found direction in the last 2 minutes? How many of you found direction to your problem? Isn't that beautiful? That is how you can use gratitude to change your business, change your life. Guys, that is how you can feel genuine happiness every single day and eliminate negative self-talk on a day-to-day basis. This is just one of the techniques that I teach in my course. Guys, you have one shot at this life, one. And most people go through life trying to stay safe, never really going for it. You are not that person. Life could change literally at any time. You have one chance in this world. Realize that your clock on life is ticking, and at any moment it could run out. You do not control the length of your life, but you do control its depth and its meaning. You control that. You are not put here to experience mediocrity. You are meant to take your past, your pain, your stories, and make it mean something. Turn it into a story for someone else that needs that empowerment in their life. Don't keep someone else's freedom trapped in your mouth. Think about that. You have to learn how to harness this feeling. You are meant to be fully alive every second of every day. And I can actually teach you how. You're exactly where you need to be right now to learn the lessons you need to learn to live the life you're meant to live. The outcome you're looking for isn't the answer. The journey you're on and appreciating the life you have is the answer. The life you're living right this second is the answer. And when you see it that way and you're grateful for the lessons and you're grateful for the challenges, amazing things start to happen. So instead of just knowing that, to radically change your life, you have to just instill this into who you are. And when you do, game over. You began that process today. And so I have a question. Can you imagine how many lives you could impact if this way of thinking was how you felt every day? Not just after a team call, like every day. What if you felt this way every single day of your life? How would your life change? Good. If that is something that you want, Stephanie and I have prepared a little something for you, a little gift that we have for you, and to actually show you how to do it. If you have been pushing so hard for a goal and it just feels like it's getting further and further away, or it seems so much easier for other people, or you keep hearing just hit this goal and it will happen, and you have all these trainings showing you how to use Instagram stories and it's not working or whatever it is, and you notice that even if you do achieve goals, you still aren't fulfilled. And some days you spend 200 invites and some days you can't get off the couch and you can't figure out what the hell is stopping you from having success. Or even if you're working really hard, you don't know why you're stuck. I have created an online course that will break you through literally all of it. The reason you feel stuck is because you have inner conflict that needs to be resolved. I know this because I lived it. Negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, lack of worth. And I want you to know, my goal here is not to sell you a course, it's to truly help you, to change your life. I went through all those feelings. You've heard the cliche, change your thinking, change your life, right? This course actually teaches you how to change your thinking, how to genuinely be happy, how to attract success instead of repel it, become magnetic, right? And because Steph is incredible and wants all of you to grow together as a team, we've arranged a massive discount on the program. I'm sure you guys know who Jen Richardson is, 15-star Diamond Coach, Million Club member. She even says, this course is the missing link that every Beachbody coach needs to finally see success in their business. You guys know who Ali Dar is, right? She says every Beachbody coach needs this. This is the real deal. And I can go on and on with testimonials. You can check Facebook page, but the bottom line is this program, Appreciation Academy, will get you unstuck. It won't just affect your business. I'm talking your entire life, your marriage, your business, your bank account, your happiness, your stress level, everything. It will rip away the layers of pain, preventing you from being the coach and, more importantly, the spouse and the person you're meant to be. It's not a business training on how to invite or use Instagram stories. Those courses will not work until you fix this, right? Appreciation Academy gets to the core of everything stopping you. It will teach you how to finally believe in yourself, how to silence the demons, how to finally live every single day with a genuine smile on your face. Like we talked about, business and success will not bring you happiness. Happiness brings you success. And this is the only course that I've actually ever seen that actually teaches you how to be happy. It teaches you how to live with happiness. It's how I went from stuck to thriving, right? So if you felt something real, if you're living in a memory that says you're not enough, it is time to stop believing that. It's time to stop spinning your wheels. And I know how you feel because I lived it. I broke that pattern. Appreciation Academy will get you unstuck. That is a promise. So after this call, immediately after, Steph has a Google form and an image in her inbox that she's going to put on your team page. If you're interested in the program, just fill out the Google form. You're not going to get pressured to buy anything. It's just going to be like, hey guys, if you're interested, here it is, right? So fill out that Google form and I'll reach out to you guys tomorrow with the discount code, and you guys can work together to grow together as a team to get the discounted rate for this program. All you got to do is fill out that form tonight, and then tomorrow morning I'll send you an email with the discount code if you want to enroll. So before we hop off though, I'm going to turn it back to Steph, and I think Steph wants to share a little bit about why she believes this program is a great idea, why she endorses it, and just her feedback on the call tonight. So thank you guys so much for the privilege of serving you. I love you guys. I love Beachbody so much. And I hope you feel in my heart that this all comes from a place of integrity, and I love you guys. So thank you very much. And Steph, I'll turn it back to you, my friend.
Okay, well, that was amazing, right, you guys? I feel like I don't even know what to say to follow that. I feel like you can't really follow that. So I'm not going to say a lot. I can't wait to read more about Brad's Academy because it sounds incredible. I feel like I told Brad actually before this Zoom, I was like, I just feel like the timing for this Zoom was like divine, like divinely timed. And I feel like maybe some of you agree with that. I think that there was a little bit of, something in the air where people were feeling like not as good as we are worthy of feeling, if that even makes sense. So I'm excited to knock that out. I'm trying to read through comments at the same time. Yeah, so divinely timed. I think that a lot of people were feeling they needed some kind of breakthrough, and I feel like this was the perfect Zoom to be on. So thank you guys for being here. I'll definitely post details so you guys can read and check out some of Brad's details. It sounds incredibly valuable, especially this time of year. I don't know if you've been hearing that, Brad, but this time of year is probably like the best time of year to have that really strong mindset in place. So you guys are amazing for hanging in there and really like being present. Like I said at the beginning of the call, really doing, those activities with Brad. I remembered I went to UPW with Tony Robbins and being in that room where Tony does that exercise. You guys can find Tony Robbins like priming exercises on YouTube also if you liked that right now, what we all did together. You can find more by Tony Robbins. Really, really life-changing, and making it even just a part of your day is like it really will change your life. So with all that said, I thank you so much, Brad. I think I can speak for all of these girls. We're just super grateful for you. Like words can't express. So thank you so much for your time tonight and just pouring into us. We all needed it in our own way. Thank you, girls, for being here and being present. I know some people had to jump off. I'll post the recording ASAP. And I hope everyone has a wonderful night. Thank you guys so much for being here. And thanks again, Brad. You're amazing. Bye, friends. Have a good night.